Welcome to A Healthier, Happier You, the people working to make it happen. I'm Evan J. Chalfin from Luxhammer, where we help the brands to help you live healthier. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Jay Wilkins, a naturopathic doctor with over 25 years of experience and the founder of Bionox. His work in nitric oxide nutrition is transforming how we approach cardiovascular health and energy support. Dr. Wilkins, thanks for being here.
Hey, it's great to be here with you, Evan.
So, what drew you to focus on nitric oxide after your experience running a wellness center?
So that was a real eye opener. I had a remote office that was about an hour away with this lady that ran a health facility. And I noticed on her desk there was this brochure that had this really cool way of screening people in a non invasive way to show what their cardiovascular health was. That got my attention as a practitioner. We're all into gadgets and things that can be used to monitor people's health. And then along with that was a supplement that had Nobel Prize winning research. It was about nitric oxide, which I was not familiar with in 2005. And I was like, wow, where have I been hiding? I hadn't heard anything about this. And it all had to do with natural things. So that was my first introduction into nitric oxide, the story of nitric oxide. So learning again that in 1998, three American doctors were given the Nobel Prize in medicine, and then hearing other practitioners from Harvard to Stanford to various universities. And one of the doctors that I refer to a lot is Dr. Prendergast, who's in the Bay Area. He was having all these great results with nutraceutical called arginine and citrulline and boosting nitric oxide. And it was just fascinating. So I started using it with my patient base, saw phenomenal results. Most of those individuals had circulatory issues of one form or another, and they were just doing so well when they started the protocol. So I was so excited about it with the screening and the supplements that I sold my practice 6 months later and started telling everybody that I could come in contact with about nitric oxide and how to harness that molecule and support it naturally using things like arginine and citrulline and antioxidants.
That's amazing. How did you bridge the gap between that research and the work that you were doing and creating Cardiogo?
So from there, I worked with this one company from 2005 to about 2009, was on their medical advisory board. And we were doing great things. And I helped a few other companies eventually create their nitric oxide supplement, and started working in the manufacturing world. So kind of had a behind the scenes look on sourcing raw materials and how to make things taste good and still be natural, flavored and sweetened and so on. So that was cool, to where then after helping other customers get their nitric oxide products put together, we finally launched our very own in 2013. Essentially, it's our flagship product, which is called Cardiogo. Essentially the same product we started out with in 2005, with a few tweaks that we made along the way that the research supported that we should do. So bio means life. Nox has to do with nitric oxide. So that's really the foundation, the backbone, if you will, of our whole company.
Where are you focusing most of your energy right now in the company?
We are venturing into a lot of different things. The marketplace is always changing, and that's fun, but at the same time, so you have to be ready to be flexible. But where we started was back in 2013, was primarily just people that I knew, retail customers, but then also practitioners. That was sort of my warm market. So we got that going, our practitioner market. We got a little bit of a retail market going. We eventually got on Amazon, which we're currently not on there, but we got the good things going there. And then about 6 years ago, we got involved in the brick and mortar space, particularly the independent stores, brick and mortar stores, health and wellness stores. And we now have upwards of about 50 different salespeople that are going out to these different independents. And slowly we're working into our mid-sized chains and things like that. And we just brought on board our first sales and education person for the practitioner market. So I was primarily the one that was doing that through expos. And that has been a real good growth, where practitioners come on board. What's cool about practitioners, one, once they learn your product works for their patients and they trust it, they don't typically go anywhere. Second, they'll tell other practitioners. So we get a lot of referrals just from practitioners having really great results in their practices, and they contacting us and getting on board. So as far as online, we're got a deal that we're doing with Vitacost. So that's exciting. They actually reached out to us. They said a big segment, which they're actually did a merger with Kroger a few years ago. So they're actually owned by Kroger. But they reached out saying that a big growth potential with what they do is supplements that are practitioner formulated. They really liked what we stood for, and so that's going to be exciting to watch that grow. We feel real good about that partnership. And then the other thing is that we're getting into, which is a huge upside, as you no doubt understand, and it's all sort of new to me. I've done a lot of the stuff I don't understand, but TikTok evidently is the next biggest thing, bigger than potentially Amazon. So we got some good help to get us going with the TikTok crowd as well. So that'll be fun to see what happens there.
What does that look like for you?
So my business partner and our brand manager were in Anaheim for their big expo. You may be familiar with the Expo West, where thousands of people come in from all over the world and converge everything supplements, functional beverages, healthy foods. It's all right there. And they were able to go to a meeting where a TikTok guru was speaking and talking all about the things that he was doing, and they were able to connect with him. So he's kind of guiding us. This has just been the last couple of months that we've really started to open that door, and so far so good.
So you're opening up your TikTok shop.
We did. So we have a particular formula that's in a capsule version. That's one that's really used to take any time. My training is using really therapeutic amounts of nutrition to really make a difference in somebody who's chronically ill. But there's also a way that you can kind of scale it down a little bit where it's convenient, and the younger crowd can use it where, they want just a boost of energy, or they want to take something before they work out, or before they go do some sort of exercising or sports or whatnot. So that particular product is doing quite well on TikTok.
That's great. Well, I'm curious who does benefit most from your products. I'm sure it
Yeah.
varies depending on the product.
Going back to when I first learned about it, the people that I mentioned, the people coming into my office had a circulatory issue of some sort. And statistically, the number one cause of death in this country is heart disease. And it all goes back to nitric oxide. As we hit our 40s, we're making about 50% of the nitric oxide that we did when we were 20. So that molecule keeps your arteries open, keeps your blood pressure regulated. When you have good nitric oxide levels, your arteries are more like Teflon, where everything just slides through, as opposed to Velcro, where everything sticks to it. So that was the major population that we were looking at, is people that had high blood pressure. I've not seen anything synthetic or natural that works as well for really to stabilize blood pressure issues. Any sort of lipid issues, triglyceride, cholesterol helps to balance those things. People that are dealing with blockages, it's been shown to be able to reverse those types of issues. So those were the main people I was interested in, but come to find out that a nitric oxide really does so many different things. So if somebody is immune system compromised, if they're having issues with their brain and cognitive issues, blood sugar problems, if they're looking for something to help them to be able to work out longer, stronger, harder, and better recovery times. Pretty much what I tell people, Evan, is if you go online and you plug in nitric oxide and whatever it is that you're trying to improve, you're going to see studies that support that nitric oxide can help that. So you hate to sound like this thing is just works for everybody and it's good for everything, but it really is. It's been called the miracle molecule for a reason.
What would you say is your biggest challenge in educating consumers about nitric oxide's importance?
That's really a good question, because if you do poll people here, 1998, the Nobel Prize was given. So we're getting close to 30 years to that being out there. And you think, well, everybody's going to know about it, right? But that's just not the case. It's still what I call the best kept secret out there. people still are very unaware about it. I mean, there's a lot of people that are learning. We have a lot of companies out there with big pockets that are promoting their nitric oxide supplements and infomercials and doing all sorts of advertising with social media and so on, which is good. It's getting the education out there. It's helping people to learn what nitric oxide is. So it is important. People really want to know benefits, nitric oxide, whatever, what does it do? So we speak in terms of, hey, this is going to help you to have more energy. This is going to help you to sleep better. This is going to help you to be able to work out stronger and longer and harder, which interestingly, the workout crowd is the population that understands nitric oxide better than anyone. They are very well in tune to that. They understand how it works, what it does, that they go in the gym, they're going to get a pump. That's what they're looking for. The blood vessels dilate and they're able to get the circulation going. It's really trying to talk in terms of, rather than the science, what is it that the product's going to do for them?
What would you say for the average consumer the benefits would be?
So right away, what we see is that, again, it facilitates good, healthy energy, clean energy, not a stimulant, but because we are encouraging circulation and oxygenation, they're just going to notice better overall feelings of wellness, better thinking. I was talking to some doctors yesterday, and one of the nutritionists said, well, I started taking it, my skin's better. And she's like, well, yeah, it's also has anti-aging benefits and in promoting human growth hormone, which is your hormone of youth. People will notice that if they are struggling with any sort of like blood pressure issues or things like that, erectile dysfunction is another major issue that people are dealing with. And that's a circulatory and a nitric oxide problem. So all those symptoms will improve by boosting nitric oxide.
What's do you think is the biggest roadblock to wider adoption?
I would say that piece of it, the real education of just how important this molecule is and just how far reaching and how by getting it boosted and stabilized, how much good they're going to be doing for those cells, also for prevention and so on. So the education piece is the main thing because our products are not cheap, more expensive than most of the products on the market, but we didn't build a product for a price point or for a population or whatever. We built a product that has all the right ingredients and all the right doses to be able to work. And that was our focus. And then the price is what it is. We don't have these margins that some have, either the tremendous margins. Is just a very typical business, stay in business markup for what we're doing. So that is the biggest hurdle really is pricing. But there are people out there that will definitely spend money on products like this.
Absolutely. So, what are your main growth targets for this year?
So we really want to exploit this TikTok deal and continue to work on that and see what that does. Most of, like anything, you got to give it a good 6 months to see how it's going to work out, which means giving away a lot of product and hoping that you're going to have some influencers that'll step up there and the payoff comes. So that'll be exciting to watch that and be able to develop products even for that market. We also, now that we have an onboarded on staff practitioner, salesperson, and educator, we're really looking to see growth within our practitioner market. We would go do a expo and we'd raise a lot of attention to ourselves and people were interested in what we're doing. We got doctors onboarded, but we didn't really have a follow-up system. It was kind of like you plug them into your email blast, and that was really about it. So having someone now that has contacts already, a warm market with practitioners, she's worked for practitioner only brands before, supplement brands. And so she'll be great to really help to head up that platform. So we expect it's a slow, steady growth with practitioners, but again, the retention is very high once you get them onboarded and help them to learn the protocols that work for their patients. So definitely looking forward to seeing that. And then again, within our health food stores, they're near and dear to my heart because a lot of the independent health food stores are closing. It's a very challenging due to the internet was the first thing that really caused a problem for them with sales. and just retail in general, it's a tough deal, right? But they're the people that are within their communities have the heart of really trying to help people be healthy and to learn about different things that can help them. They're not getting rich. They're doing it because they have a heart to really help their communities. And so it's a tough market, even for us. There's a lot you have to do to really to bend over backwards to help them with what they're doing. I've grew up going to health food stores. I grew up on the West Coast, and I remember going into Fred Meyer's and smelling the smell of the peanut butter and the B vitamins and the little, it's very distinct smell of these health food stores. And I just always have been interested in that. So we're expecting growth even in those. So we're trying to get into some of the bigger chains. So hopefully by the year's end, we'll have some of that taken care of too, and be able to work through some of those bigger chains.
How are you currently reaching new customers with D2C?
That's a challenge, so that's where some of these other outreach through TikTok, we notice that everything that we do also does help our consumer, our direct to consumer, our retail base. So we've seen that everything that we do helps all the waters tend to rise. So that's one thing that'll help. One challenge is with Google and some of these deals is that you'll kind of find something that works and then you get blocked from doing things. They're controlling a lot of, or through Facebook as well. They'll block you. You'll get a certain amount of success, things will start working, and then they decide that you're doing something that's not compliant because it's supplements. So in the supplement space on those different platforms, it's really a challenge. So we did a lot of that at Google AdWords and whatnot, but now we've pulled back and we're putting it into to more of the TikTok because now we're not having those type of issues. So growing our own direct to consumer from our website, we found to have a certain amount of success, but then it kind of hit a wall, as it were, because of these roadblocks that we're dealing with.
So, what trends in natural health and supplementation excite you the most?
Well, of course, anything related to nitric oxide. So, and that's a space that's always growing. There's always new little ingredients and things and studies that come out. So, we'll continue to watch that. And then anything related to our space is really with cardiovascular. In general, I know one of the categories that is really growing is women's health. So, like you'll go into a health food store, and a lot of times they'll have cardiovascular health, and they'll have different categories, digestive health and so on. And a lot of times they have a space dedicated just for women as well. So definitely interested in that category. Something that has been big and maybe continued to grow is the GLP-1. So a lot of these folks that are using these GLP-1 type drugs, they're also looking for adjunct nutrition that can also help with what they're doing, or even GLP-1 type supplements that are available. That's not something probably that we'll get involved with. A lot of these things are real trendy, it seems, and GLP-1 is real, but sort of like the whole thing with CBD, it works, it's great, but you had everybody and their cousin jumping on board the CBD wagon and trying to make money with it. And now it's kind of stable, it's plateaued at a more reasonable rate. So I would say that we've kind of found our lane with this whole nitric oxide. We could venture into cardiovascular products. There's other products that we can get into. Potentially we're looking at maybe even like a meal type replacement protein, maybe some natural energy type supplements would be something that we might get into. It'd be fun to get into the functional beverage space. That's a really hot area, and I think a neat area. And that's something too that we could develop even with under the nitric oxide type of heading, and create a functional beverage that would be a grab and go cold drink that a lot of these stores are carrying now.
That'd be really exciting.
It would.
So, what do you think is going to be crucial to get right in the next year?
Well, for us, we are slow and steady wins the race. I think it's really important to know your lane and to be excited about the lane that you're in. I mean, I've been saying this same nitric oxide story now for what, 20 years. And so, but I'm just as excited about it now as I was then. So that's good, right? You need to have that type of excitement about what you're doing. So I think that's key. I'm a big relationship guy. I think that's important to, develop these relationships, develop the relationships also with key organizations. So within the natural foods independent store, I've developed a lot of good relations through organizations that support that. To just continue to do the deal, continue to add the piece that the next piece is necessary, and grow out what you're doing. We've scaled slowly. I'm sure that we'll continue to do that, but it's okay. We know that the opportunities will continue to come our way.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we had this conversation again in 12 months, what achievements would make you proudest?
Piggybacking on some of the things that we talked about, I would love to see where we're more recognized as a brand within our practitioner space. Practitioners understand nitric oxide. A lot of practitioners are already using nitric oxide nutraceuticals in their functional medical offices, but it would be good to be able to have more practitioners that are out there, because they're the ones too that are looking at their patients' data and seeing the improvement. So we'll be able to get a lot of good feedback from them, as well as we're developing some nice relationships with labs that do heavy metal toxicity screenings, that have other cardiovascular type blood work that they do. So it'll be really cool to see how practitioners will be able to come back and say, yeah, I did this test for my patient, and we took the Cardiogo and the Bionox, and this is the results that we saw in the lab work by following them. So that'll be a really fun thing. Again, this VitaCost deal we're excited about. We're hoping that relationship, I will be able to see a really nice impact in our sales based on what they're doing. And there's some big to mid-size chains that we're wanting to develop a relationship with as well. And so that would be really cool in 12 months if we've got that under our belt and we're working with them and supporting them. So those would be a few key. If I were to rub my crystal ball and say that's what's going on, that would be a few big ones that would be making a really great year.
That's great. Well, that's it for today's episode of A Healthier, Happier You, the people working to make it happen. Huge thank you to Dr. Jay Wilkins for sharing his insights and the amazing work that Bionox is doing to help people live healthier, happier lives. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could benefit. And if you're a brand or business making an impact in health, wellness, or personal care, we'd love to help you grow. Connect with me at luxhammer.com. Thanks for listening. Until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, and keep making a difference.